Good morning, Philippines. Okay, we're talking about identity shifting and becoming the 2.0 you version. There's the 1.0 you. That's the who you are now. But remember, at this point in your life, you've already become somewhat of the person that you weren't before. Anybody can identity shift. It depends on what you're doing.
Morning.
So what you do is you imagine the person you want to become. If you want to become a person like me who has high self-esteem, then you've got to do those things that build your self-esteem. And then you attract people who have high self-esteem. Because what you find is after you've manifested a certain identity, and you'll manifest who you think you are. If you think you are a very confident person, then you will behave in a confident fashion, and you will attract those people to you who are confident. And people who are unconfident, well, they're just not in your circle of friends. You'll manifest who you are, but you are defined by what you do. Because it's not who you are that defines you, it's what you do. And it seems kind of like a paradox, but it's not when you think about it, because most people confuse the law of attraction with thinking about what they want to become. And you don't become necessarily what you want to become because you're not thinking about what you want to become. As an example, if you want to if you want to lose weight and you think, oh, I got to stop eating all those French fries and I got to stop drinking all that sugary pop, then the brain is thinking sugary pop and French fries. It doesn't think in the terms of yes and no or do this and don't do that. It just thinks French fries and soda pop, sugary pop. So if you're drinking sugary pop and French fries, you just have to put them out of your mind completely and think about the foods that are healthy for you that you really like to eat. And then that's how you start thinking about what you want to do. And you really have to want to eat those foods that are healthy for you. And in order to do that, good morning. In order to do that, they've got to taste pretty good. So you manifest who you are. And if you are thinking about French fries, you're going to eat French fries. Even if you think, I don't want to eat French fries, there, you thought about French fries. Just by thinking, I don't want to eat French fries. Oh, it's kind of a nice day today. So that's our little tidbit for today on identity, becoming the person who you want to be. I remember when I first came to the Philippines back in March of 2015. I came here and the girl I was supposed to meet basically stood me up, and I was a bit of a quandary as to what to do. And so there was a travel agency right next to the hotel where I was staying, and I thought, holy smokes, I'm going to need to make my stay here alone and possibly get out of the Philippines. So I went and talked to a young travel agent. Now this was I had arrived on a Friday night, and this was a Saturday morning. So I went over to the travel agency. It was open. It was like at 9 o'clock. And I talked to a young man there. I needed to know where there was a payphone also. So, because my cell phone wasn't working. So I managed to get down to the payphone and everything, but while I was talking to the young travel agent, I went back and I talked to him again, and he said, I said, so what time do you work here? Because I thought it was unusual that people were working on a Saturday. And he said, we get off at 12 today. And I went, oh. I said, well, would you mind taking me around the Philippines here? He goes, well, he said, you know, like, this is kind of like my half day, and then I got tomorrow off. And I said, well, you know, I'll give you like 1,000 pesos. And he went, really? And I said, yeah. I said, how much you making here? And he said he was making, I think on that day, he was making just a couple hundred pesos. And so he thought that was a really good deal. So he took me around the Philippines, and he took me all over in Manila. And while we were walking around, he asked me, he said, what's it, he said, after we were walking for a while, he said to me, what's it like to be free? And I'd really never thought about that before, what it was to be free. And what it is to be free is to really not have limiting beliefs. And when you get stuck with a limiting belief like, oh, I'll never lose weight, or I don't like to exercise, or I've got to do this, or I've got to do that, you'll be stuck. You won't be able to change your identity. So no matter how badly you want to change your identity, it becomes really difficult with a limiting belief. And one of the things that I teach people how to do is to recognize what belief is holding them back, because you can have a rocket pack on your back and be ready to shoot to the stars, but the whole thing is you're not going anywhere if you got a limiting belief anchoring you down. So I use a lot of NLP techniques, and we'll be teaching that over the next few weeks as I'm doing my walk here. And we'll be really focused in on the identity. And I can tell you that most people, they're identifying with their ego. And the ego is that little voice in your head. It's your desires. And that little voice in the head will hold you back because you are attached to it and a lot of limiting beliefs. And so what I'm going to get you to do is make your first identity shift from ego to awareness. Because if you're aware, the ego, the voice in your head, your desires shut down. Because when you're aware, you're living in the moment. And you don't really think when you're living in the moment, when you're experiencing the moment. You can experience emotions, and you can learn skills and perform tasks and live in the moment without thinking, because you don't need to think when you're doing a task or a habit. It's just like my talking now. I've programmed a lot of knowledge into my head, and so I don't think about it. It just comes out of me because that's what's programmed into my head. So NLP it's called neuro-linguistic programming, because you're programming thoughts and knowledge and skills and tasks into your head that are repetitive, that you don't have to think about. And one of the main thing you want to think about when you're initially changing your identity is to simply do an identity shift by doing a shift from thinking to awareness. And this is where I want to mention the guru who I learned this under was Eckhart Tolle. And I cannot recommend him high enough for getting people to become aware rather than to think. The more you practice awareness, it's like a muscle, it builds. You're going to start using neurons and pathways, and those neurons and pathways have remained dormant in most people for a long time, but I'll tell you, it's very liberating. It's quite a freeing experience to escape from that non-stop chatter in your head that's directed by your ego. And your ego is directed by your beliefs and your emotions and your thoughts. And so if you can stop thinking you can shut that voice off. And my partner Jeanette here does a guided meditation, and I would recommend that you all start following guided meditation programs every day so that you can start doing the mind shifting process from shifting from thinking to awareness. Good morning.
Good morning, Kuya.
Oh, it's so nice to finally be out here where there's a nice clear day and no rain. I think we've had rain for what, a couple weeks maybe? That's my friend Jaime, Jimmy, and his wife Eugenia. We call her Mommy G. And they're the owners of this church here. And they consider it like not religious, but more just like their worship of the higher power, whatever you want to call it. And Jeanette and I, we're secular Buddhists. We have no beliefs in any of that. So here we are at the church. I'm going to finish this up, and then I'm going to go for my walk through the Tawaran Bridge. Bye-bye. Oh. See you later, alligator.